Obinna was born with an unusually large head in the small city of UCHE. From the moment he was a child, he was the target of cruel jokes. Children called him balloon head, big-headed fool, and worse. Even adults whispered behind his back, their stares piercing deeper than their words. Obinna's mother, Mama Ebel, always told him, "My son, your big head is a sign of your big destiny." But as he grew older, Obinna began to doubt her words. Every time he walked through the streets of UCHE, people pointed and laughed. At school, his life was even harder. One day, during a math class, Chika, the class clown, threw a chalkboard eraser at Obinna's head and shouted, "Maybe if we write the answers on his head, they'll fit better." The whole class roared with laughter. Humiliated, Obinna ran home, tears streaming down his face. As he grew into his 20s, the bullying didn't stop. Despite his intelligence and kindness, no one gave him a chance. Obinna's heart hardened. He made up his mind, he would leave UCHE and never look back. Obinna arrived in the bustling city of Lagos with nothing but a small bag and a heart full of hope. He vowed to reinvent himself. The city was loud, fast-paced, and overwhelming, but Obinna was determined. He rented a tiny room in a rundown building and took on odd jobs to survive. Over time, he observed the city culture, wealth commanded respect, and appearances mattered. Then, an idea struck him. If I cannot escape their judgment, he thought, I will use it to my advantage. Using his savings, Obinna bought second-hand designer clothes and fake jewelry. He carefully crafted the illusion of a wealthy businessman, complete with rented luxury cars and a fabricated background as a foreign-trained entrepreneur. His head, still abnormally large, became less of a focus as people began to notice his wealth. Obinna started attending high-society events, where his fake persona worked like magic. People admired his confidence and mystique. However, deep down, he knew his charade could not last forever. Despite his outward success, Obinna's life in Lagos was far from easy. Behind closed doors, he struggled to keep up with the facade. Renting luxury cars and attending elite events drained his resources. He often went to bed hungry, his mind racing with fears of being exposed. One day, at a business gala, he met Amaka, a stunning and ambitious socialite. Amaka was drawn to Obinna's charm and mysterious aura. She was the first woman to look past his head and see the man beneath. Or so Obinna thought. Their relationship blossomed, and soon, the city began to buzz about the wealthy billionaire and his glamorous girlfriend. But cracks began to show. Amaka pressured Obinna to invest in a luxury project she was working on. The lies piled up, and Obinna's anxiety grew. Then came the unthinkable. At a public charity auction, someone from his past recognized him. It was Chika, the same boy who had bullied him in school. Now a mid-level journalist, Chika shouted, "This man is no billionaire. He is just Obinna from UCHE, the balloon head." The crowd gasped. Cameras flashed. Obinna froze, his carefully constructed world crumbling around him. The scandal spread like wildfire. Headlines screamed, "Big-headed fraud exposed." Social media erupted with memes and insults. Once again, Obinna became the subject of ridicule. Amaka abandoned him immediately, her final words sharp, "I can't believe I fell for a broke nobody." Obinna was devastated but not surprised. The city he thought would embrace him had turned against him just like his hometown. Broke and humiliated, Obinna retreated to the outskirts of Lagos, living in a tiny shack. He spent his days reflecting on his life, his mistakes, and the cruel nature of the world. But in his darkest hour, something unexpected happened. One evening, while wandering the streets, he came across a young woman selling roasted plantains by the roadside. Her name was Adeobi. Adeobi was unlike anyone Obinna had ever met. Despite her modest life, she had a radiant smile and a kind heart. She treated everyone with respect, even those who mocked her for being a hawker. Obinna began to visit her stall regularly, drawn to her warmth and positivity. Adeobi, curious about the quiet man with the big head, started asking him questions. Obinna hesitated at first, but eventually, he opened up. "I have been judged all my life," he confessed. "For my looks, for my lies, for trying to be someone I am not." Adeobi listened intently, her eyes filled with empathy. "Your head does not matter," she said softly. "It is what is inside that counts." For the first time in years, Obinna felt seen not as a joke, not as a fraud, but as a human being. The two grew closer, sharing stories, dreams, and laughter. Adeobi's kindness began to heal the wounds Obinna carried from a lifetime of bullying. However, their budding romance was not without challenges. The city whispers had not completely faded, and Adeobi friends warned her about associating with someone as infamous as Obinna. Still, she stood by him. As weeks turned into months, Obinna and Adeobi bond grew stronger. He found solace in her company, and for the first time, he felt no need to pretend. Adeobi, with her unshakable optimism, inspired him to rebuild his life. "You have been broken, Obinna," she said one evening as they sat under a mango tree. "But broken things can be mended if you let them." Motivated by her words, Obinna started taking small steps toward change. He decided to put his intelligence to use and began offering business consultations to struggling small traders in the neighborhood. With Adeobi's encouragement, his reputation as a problem solver grew, though he kept a low profile to avoid the media. However, whispers of his presence reached the ears of people who had once mocked him. Some came out of curiosity, while others sought to ridicule him again. "Is this what the billionaire has been reduced to?" Chika sneered when he stumbled across Obinna at the market one day. But this time, Obinna did not flinch. "Yes, I made mistakes," he replied calmly. "But I am using what I have to make a difference. What about you?" For the first time, Chika was left speechless. Despite the positive changes in Obinna's life, the couple faced new challenges. Adeobi's friends and family began pressuring her to reconsider her relationship. "You are a beautiful, hard-working woman," her aunt scolded one afternoon. "Why waste your life on a man with no money or future?" But Adeobi remained steadfast. "He may not have riches," she argued, "but he has a heart bigger than his head, and that's enough for me." Her loyalty was put to the test and a wealthy businessman named Chief Okafor took an interest in her. He offered her a lucrative deal to supply plantains for his chain of hotels, but his intentions were far from pure. "You deserve better than a failed fraud like Obinna," he said, his words dripping with condescension. Adeobi rejected Chief Okafor's advances, but the encounter left her shaken. She began to worry about the future. How long could love alone sustain them? Obinna noticed her distress and confronted her. "Ada, if you think I am holding you back, I will let you go. I cannot bear to see you unhappy." Tears welled in her eyes as she shook her head. "I didn't fall in love with your money or your lies, Obinna. I fell in love with you. We will face this together." Just as things began to stabilize, Obinna's past came back to haunt him. A tabloid journalist uncovered his whereabouts and published an exposé titled "The Rise and Fall of the Big-Headed Billionaire." The article reignited public interest in his story, and soon, his humble neighborhood was swarming with reporters. Adeobi's stall became a target for gossip, and her customers dwindled. The neighbors, who had started to respect Obinna for his work, turned on him again. "You have brought shame to our community," they accused him. Obinna felt the weight of guilt crushing him. He considered leaving the city to protect Adeobi from further harm, but she refused. "Running away will not solve anything," she said firmly. "You have spent your life running. It is time to stand your ground." Taking her advice, Obinna decided to confront the media. In a bold move, he organized a press conference to tell his side of the story. At the press conference, Obinna stood before a crowd of reporters, his heart pounding but his resolve strong. Yes, I lied about being a billionaire, he began. I did it because I was tired of being judged for my appearance. But my lies only brought me pain and shame. He went on to share his journey, from being bullied in UCHE to his fall from grace in Lagos. If there is one thing I have learned, it is that true wealth is not in money or appearances, it is in the people who stand by you when the world turns its back. The honesty of his words struck a chord with many in the audience. The story of the big-headed billionaire transformed from a tale of deceit to one of redemption. Even Chika, who had attended the press conference to mock him, felt a twinge of guilt. But the real turning point came when Adeobi stepped forward. This man may not have riches, she declared, but he has given me more love and respect than anyone ever has. If you can't see his worth, that is your loss, not mine. Her speech earned a round of applause, and for the first time in years, Obinna felt a glimmer of hope. The aftermath of the press conference was a mix of backlash and support. While some people continued to mock him, others admired his courage. A philanthropist named Madame Ngozi, who had attended the event, approached Obinna with an offer. I run a foundation that helps underprivileged youth start businesses, she said. Your story has inspired me. Would you be interested in joining our team as a mentor? Overwhelmed with gratitude, Obinna accepted the offer. He began working with the foundation, teaching young people about resilience and entrepreneurship. His reputation slowly shifted from that of a fraud to a man of integrity. Meanwhile, Adeobi's business flourished as people came to admire her loyalty and hard work. With Obinna's help, she expanded her stall into a small restaurant, which became a community favorite. But just as they began to find peace, a mysterious letter arrived at their doorstep. It bore no return address and contained only one sentence: your story is far from over. As Obinna and Adeobi stared at the cryptic message, a sense of unease settled over them. Was this a new threat or the beginning of something even greater?